Hello, mate. Welcome into the Man Cave. Hardcore politics on a Sunday night, just the way we like it. Piping hot polls and lots to fire up about this evening. In State of the Race, which we like to do each and every week. Cos Samaras, the man who's got the numbers, the man who's got the experience when it comes to politics, none other than the great Michael Kroger. Lee Hanson, yes, Pauline's daughter, running for the Senate. She's running against Jackie Lambie in Tasmania, so I'm more than happy to give her as much time on the air as possible. Also, what a week we have here on Sky News. On Tuesday night, 7:30 in prime time, the Prime Minister versus the alternative Prime Minister in the People's Forum. 100 undecided voters in Western Sydney will get their chance to ask whatever they want, not what the media has decided. The next day, again in prime time, Jim Chalmers versus Angus Taylor about the economy. And in the middle of the day, via the National Press Club, a conversation about energy with Blackout Bowen, or the man who would like to send us into a nuclear age at some point in time, Ted O'Brien. 3 massive days, 3 debates, full coverage each and every night here at 9 o'clock, which is the same time on the East Coast now that daylight saving business has gone for the bin. I'm glad that you're here. There's an awful lot to get to tonight. Before I get to the polls, and yes, they have strengthened in terms of the government, but as always, devil is in the detail. Let's have a look. 27 days to go, or more importantly, just 16 until the first votes will be cast in this election. More than half of all people expected to vote early. That's why it matters. That's why the first couple of weeks particularly matters. I do like how the Prime Minister keeps talking about trying to fend off American-style politics and then has a Trump-style rally, signs and all, in Brisbane today, where, unsurprisingly, he had more of your money to spend.
Today I announced that Labor will make batteries 30% cheaper for Australian homes, small businesses and community facilities. That means saving around $4,000 on the cost of installing a typical battery, and it means slashing your power bills permanently.
Where have we heard a version of this before? By the way, does he understand how offensive it is to stand in front of the national flag? Doesn't he have a policy of standing in almost everything but? Anyway, it's election time and Jedi mind trick. You're supposed to forget the past 3 years and their priorities about what symbols best represent our country. Because remember, he's definitely not woke. As for the alternative Prime Minister, well, he was all over the shop this weekend. Again, Tasmania, spent a bit of time there, spent a bit of time in the Northern Territory as well. His big announcement today at his election rally, the first of this campaign, was to focus on cutting the number of students who are clogging up our immigration system.
Our international student numbers are up by 65%. Under this government over the last 12 months. We want to provide support to regional universities, and we put in place a cap which will be 30,000 lower than what Labor has in place, or 80,000 lower than what the numbers were just a couple of years ago.
Oh, the most popular segment on the program, certainly when it comes to people watching it, but not to my colleagues and friends in the wider media. This is about how the media spun it for Labor this weekend, always the benefit of the doubt. These are the hard-hitting questions that the Prime Minister copped this weekend from a press pack who have the feeling they're dealing with him for another 3 years and don't want to upset the apple cart.
What role do you think climate change is playing, if any, in exacerbating those impacts?
The day after May the 3rd is, of course,
May the 4th be with you.
What are you willing to do beyond what's already been committed to back down on these platforms?
Thousands of accounts affected at risk in Australian super. Have you been briefed on it? What's the government's response?
As for the media travelling with the alternative Prime Minister, well, I saw it with my own eyes when we were in Brisbane at our pub test. They're not big fans of the alternative Prime Minister, so they love nothing but the hard questions for him. You see, if you keep him on defence, he can't go on an attack, and if he doesn't go on attack, then everything stays the way that it is, and Albo gets another 3 years.
Can you guarantee that Australians will know what waste and efficiency changes would be made before the election, or will it be like Doge and a surprise after the vote?
You have given few details, whether it is how your gas plan's going to get electricity bills down or how you're going to spend the health and education budgets. Why is there this delay on letting voters into the secret?
Did the coalition government at the time blunder when it allowed the sale?
Given that response from voters, in particular female voters, which the coalition is struggling to gain traction with, will you reconsider your policy?
By the way, quick note to the people in charge of the Liberal campaign. See that lady standing behind Peter Dutton? Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price, let's get her front and centre. She knows how to argue something from 60-40, yes, pulling it back to 60-40, no. I want to see more from her. in the next little while. She's an absolute powerhouse, and anytime she wants to come on the show, she is more than welcome. Yes, of course, in the same way I did not care about the Prime Minister falling off the stage, I will not pretend that there was not an incident where the alternative Prime Minister was kicking the footy with a bunch of kids, a cameraman got too close, and he got bandaged up as if it was some sort of a head wound from a sniper. I'm not sure why such an extensive amount of bandages were needed, but geez, it was a big oversell, wasn't it? Again, I'm sorry that somebody got hurt, that's the way that it is, but the idea that we needed to pretend that there was some sort of a gunshot wound, a little much. Anyway, as you've seen many times, I didn't care when it was the Prime Minister falling off the stage. I don't care when it's Peter Dutton accidentally kicking a footy to the cameraman. What I do care about is that, of course, the Prime Minister lied. Remember he went on radio and pretended, oh, I didn't fall off the stage? No attempt from that when it comes to Peter Dutton. Small things, but it is the way that it is. By the way, I would like somebody to tell me, why is there a double standard for when our leaders must turn up to natural disasters? You see, of course, Anthony Albanese literally delayed the election, forced a budget, all because he wanted to be seen to be part of everything when it came to ex-tropical cyclone Alfred in Queensland. He was even doing pointless press conferences just to somehow get in the middle of those news days when we were worried about what was going to be happening there. Now, an event that actually had more rain in certain parts than Tropical Cyclone Alfred are the floods that have been thumping central Queensland. Now, the size of Texas is the amount of how much water and how much flood damage is around there. Well, the Prime Minister finally turned up, but it was a week after Peter Dutton was there. Now, I thought we had to live in some sort of a scenario where the second even a hint of trouble is coming, then the Prime Minister must be there. If not, he is not caring. Well, I think that standard's ridiculous, but I also think turning up a week after the event is taking place is, well, not good enough. Peter Dutton, he was there last Monday, and that was a couple of days after we had started talking about what was happening, but I'm glad that he was there and relatively quickly. Of course, the reality here is that because many of these people are good Queensland folk who probably aren't going to vote Labor any time in their life, and there's not enough population and there wasn't rolling television coverage, well, the Prime Minister just thought he could put it into the who cares basket, eventually turning up as he did. But my point is this. The tumbleweeds start rolling when it's a Labor politician who's late to turn up to a flood or a fire. But if it's the Libs, it's a sign that they don't care.